Welcome to Female Voices, Life and Loss with your hosts, Teresa Reiniger and Wayna Berry.
Welcome back to Female Voices, Life and Loss. I'm Teresa.
And I'm Wayna.
Join us for each episode as we explore lived stories, offer gentle insight, and hold space for what it means to navigate life after loss. This is a space for women carrying grief, loss, and life transitions, especially the ones held quietly while still showing up for everyday life. This podcast offers language for what you are feeling and guidance for who you are becoming. And now your hosts, Teresa Reiniger and Wayna Berry.
Hello and welcome to Female Voices, Life and Loss. I'm your host, Teresa Reiniger. Today's episode feels incredibly special because this month, June, marks something I honestly never, ever could have imagined. 6 years ago, 6 years of podcasting, actually on June 21st of 2020 is when podcasting began for me. 6 years of conversation, 6 years of stories, 6 years of showing up imperfectly and continuing anyway. And today also marks something else super special. We're going to begin season 3. Season 3. This season feels different, not because my heart is changing, but because the vision is becoming so much clearer. Before I talk about where Female Voices is going, I want to take a moment and look back because this podcast didn't begin as a business for me. This began as love and loss. So where it began was back in 2020. We all remember 2020, right? This podcast had a different name. It was called Labor Pains Dealing with Infertility and Loss. It began because my daughter's experience with infertility and pregnancy loss. 7 losses between 2 of my daughters, 7 pregnancies, and lengthy infertility journeys. And during that time, I watched my daughters and other women carrying heartbreak while still showing up for themselves and others. I watched grief that didn't always have language. I would say a silent grief that no one talked about, so no one knew what to say. I realized something then. There were so many women quietly carrying the pain from infertility and pregnancy loss that no one could see. It was that hidden silent grief. They carried this pain, not because they wanted to, but because they didn't know where to put it, didn't know how to navigate it. There was no language around this type of loss in 2020. So after navigating the learning curve of recording in person, 2020, with my microphone, to learning how to record virtually, I decided finally to press record. And honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted women to feel less alone. That was the beginning. Editing every episode, having my husband, Tom, be my proofreader for every show note. What I didn't know back then was how much my own life was about to change from those very first episodes. Around that time, I began to move deeper into my grief work. From hearing the stories, that journey led me into certifications, more education, and eventually becoming a certified practitioner of timeline therapy and certified neurolinguistics program master coach. And most recently, a grief recovery method specialist. And somewhere inside all of that, life continued to happen. the loss of family and friends, and my mom entering hospice in 2022. My family walking through loss. And if you haven't listened before, I have 12 siblings. There were seasons of caregiving and settling my parents' estate, while 13 people were all grieving differently in their own way. We all deserve a certification for navigating all of that together. And of course, not always on the same page, as you can probably only imagine. I was building my business and questioning myself. I was starting again, and I was starting to realize loss isn't only about death. Sometimes loss looks like the loss of identity. Like, who am I now? Like a change in jobs and towns and states, and a loss of someone significant to you. Like, who am I now? There's that identity loss. There's expectations of what was to be with that person or that job or that location. And then roles change, dreams that would never come to be, and becoming someone new. And slowly the podcast evolved over the past 6 years. It started as labor pains in 2020 to resilient moms, hope, healing, and living after loss. And I believe 2023. And now Female Voices Life and Loss, which began in 2025. Because what became clear over time was this: women need more than information. They need to share their stories, and they need to hear other stories. They needed connection, language around their loss. They also needed permission to know what they were feeling is real and to be validated. A place to say, me too. That's what was becoming. And one of the biggest gifts of this journey has been welcoming Wayna into this work as a co-host this past 18 months. Wayna brought compassion, professional perspective, depth to the conversation, and together we've had beautiful conversations and welcomed some incredible guests. So as we begin season 3, Wayna will be taking a short pause to focus on this season of her own life and work. And I just want to say I'm deeply grateful for everything she has helped build. And I know this community joins me in cheering her on. In almost every episode, we talk about rest and self-care. As professionals, we talk about it, and I don't always take the time myself, and other professionals, we don't take the time ourselves to do it. And I'm honored to support Wayna in taking time for herself. So Female Voices continues, and there is space for both rest and return. So season 3 feels exciting because we're stepping into something very intentional. You'll continue hearing all the stories, the real stories, the gentle insight, and life after loss. And we're also expanding. You'll begin seeing new free resources, community opportunities, more intentional conversations, not that they haven't been intentional in the past, but more of them, and new ways to honor stories and to honor your loved ones, including something I'm especially excited about that I have been thinking about for a very, very long time. It's going to be called In Memory Of. This will be a place to honor and preserve stories for people we love, because grief deserves space and stories deserve somewhere to live. You'll also begin seeing more opportunities connect outside the podcast, because I don't want this to just be something you listen to. I want you to be able to join a community. I want this to become something you experience. If you've been here with me since labor pains in 2020, thank you. If you joined doing Resilient Moms in 2023, thank you. If today is your first episode, welcome, welcome, welcome. Maybe you found this podcast because life changed for you. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you're becoming who you are meant to be. Or maybe you're just tired. Whatever brought you here, I hope you know this. You do not have to carry everything alone. We're here for you. And maybe healing doesn't always begin with answers. Maybe sometimes it begins with hearing someone say, I understand. Me too. So before I end this episode, I'd love to ask to hear from you. What conversation has stayed with you if you have been listening for a while? There have been hundreds of stories over the last 6 years. We have been sharing some memorable quotes on our social media this week and last week. What have you heard that has stayed with you? What brought you here? Grief, loss, or something else? What brought you here? Or what are you hoping for in this next season of your life? I would love to hear your ideas of what we can do during this next season. What are your needs? And leave us a message with those answers. We want to hear from you. You can leave that on our social media, any of our socials, or you can send it via email. We would love to hear from you as we move into season 3. Again, what conversation has stayed with you? What brought you here? And what are you hoping to find in this next season, in season 3 from us? I would encourage you to share this episode and join our community on all socials. And if you haven't yet, go to the website, my website, Living After Grief, our Female Voices Facebook page, and find the link and download our new, I share with you free resources. So download a new free guide. Yes, a free resource for you or for someone you love that could use support. The resource is called Life After Loss, a gentle guide for women finding their way forward. And thank you so much for being part of 6 years of stories, 6 years of podcasting, whether as a listener or a guest. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so glad you have been here with me. We are honored to walk this journey with you, and I'll see you next time on Female Voices, Life and Loss with Teresa Reiniger and Wayna Berry.
Thanks for listening to Female Voices, Life and Loss. If this episode resonated with you, helped you feel seen, or gave language to something you've been carrying, we invite you to share it with someone who may need it. Be sure to follow the show so you don't miss future episodes and the powerful voices still to come.